everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Neighbors Helping Neighbors, brought to you by the Robertson County Democratic Party. I'm Kaylee, here with my co-host Morgan.
Hello.
As always, we will start off this week with events, happenings, things going on. So first and foremost, happy Pride Month, everyone. Even though these are not Democratic Party sponsored events, I still wanted to call out some Pride events happening this month because, of course, it's Pride. We have to support our queer community. So the only thing that I could find that's really going on in Robertson County during Pride Month is the Fifth Avenue Uniting Church, just down in the historic square, is having its 5th annual Pride picnic this coming Saturday, June 13th from 4 to 7 p.m. It is 100% free to attend. It looks like they'll have food, live music, stuff going on, just, a few hours to come hang out. Again, that's down in the historic square. Just look up the Fifth Avenue Uniting Church and you should be able to find everything you need. And then, of course, Nashville, Davidson County, obviously, is going to have a whole bunch of stuff going on this entire month, but wanted to call out the actual, Pride parade and festival is going to be on Saturday, June 27th. The parade is at 10, and then the parade will lead to kind of the festival area where there's going to be stuff going on all day. I think it ends officially at like 8 p.m. But again, Saturday, June 27th for that. Everything else is just kind of our standard reminders about our Ice Out protests on Wednesday outside the Robertson County Sheriff's Office, and then our weekly Springfield Speaks Saturday series on the corner of Tom Austin and Memorial from 1 to 3. I will say, I think I saw an email not so long ago get sent about potentially changing the Saturday protests, moving them up maybe an hour or two earlier in the day now that it's starting to get kind of warm outside, in the afternoon. So keep an eye out. That timing might change, but we will let you know if that does happen. And then final thing is just the next party meeting will be Tuesday the 16th at the Springfield Senior Center. So we hope to see you there. So that brings us to our I was going to say topic for today, but we decided to change it up a little bit. And instead of doing one big topic for the whole episode, we just found a few smaller stories that we kind of wanted to talk about, but didn't think it'd be enough to be a full-length episode on their own. So we just have some few headlines, stories, things we wanted to talk about, and then we have kind of just a fun, heartwarming one to wrap it up, because we feel like we've been talking a lot about just really depressing stuff lately. So we wanted to end with a happy note. So we will get there. But I will just hand it over to you to start off with kind of our first story for the day.
All right. And our first story is marijuana. As you know, it has been a cultural keystone for American culture for a long time. We have had a very large struggle with it throughout the nation, purely because, in my personal and educated opinion, and the opinion of many other scientists out there, marijuana is not that bad for you. Definitely not as bad as alcohol, and that its effects are different than other recreational drugs.
Well, and I'm sure we've all heard the statistics of like how many people die a year for like alcohol related overdoses or just related incidents, and it's in the hundreds, if not thousands. And then marijuana is always like zero.
Yeah. Well, essentially, why we're talking about marijuana here in Tennessee, the state that has always politically hated marijuana, is because in 2018, Donald Trump signed the 2018 Farm Bill into effect, and that did a funny little thing in the market, which allowed scientists to work on hemp and grow a variant of hemp that creates the same THC properties as marijuana. This is called THC-a. I'm sure you've seen it in a few stores popping up here and there, especially around Tennessee, where these stores are selling THC-a flower, as they call it. That's the word for marijuana in the industry. They call it flower. And it's been a huge industry. Hundreds of millions of dollars has circulated through the Tennessee economy because of it. A lot of people have been buying it. A lot of people have reported that it has helped them out with their health issues. It has helped them relax. It has helped them get off of alcohol as a coping mechanism. I've been hearing a lot more good than I have bad about the THC-a loophole that has effectively allowed a form of legalized marijuana into the state. Um, Cat's out of the bag on that. Well, unfortunately, the Tennessee legislature has decided that they are going to ban THC-a starting July 1st. And to me, that's just a very, very bad idea.
And this, I want to be clear, this is something that's kind of been up in the air for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
we heard about it last year that it was potentially coming like January 1st of this year, and then they pushed it back to July 1st, and then they pushed it out again and said that they weren't going to do it. And
Yep.
now they're, they've come back and said, actually, never mind. JK, we are going to do it on July 1st. So, this, if you have heard rumors of this happening in the past, this is probably the same situation that you've heard of, and they've just finally made a decision and said, it's going to happen July 1st.
Yeah, and that's because mainly they've transferred the ability for this THC-a to be regulated by the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission. See, hey, what do you know? The exact commission that regulates alcohol and also benefits from alcohol being a major part of the economy in Tennessee just so happens to regulate marijuana into the ground.
And I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anyone that big alcohol is not a fan of the weed industry.
Yeah, no. Spoiler alert, I was in one of the local shops that sells THC-a in Springfield, and one of the shop owners did flat out tell us that, yes, they were going to ban most THC-a stuff on July 1st. And also, he made an allure to the Jack Daniels lobby, suddenly pouring a lot of money into this Tennessee State House to make sure that this ban sticks. I wonder why Jack Daniels would be interested in making sure THC-a gets banned. Who would have known?
Who could have guessed?
Yeah. But essentially, what this is going to do is this is going to cause a lot of CBD and hemp businesses to shut down because, spoiler alert, the product that they sell the most is THC-a. Like, that is 70 to 80% of what they move.
And you're actually, I don't know if you just pulled that out of your butt or if you happen to look at my notes and cheated. But in the state of Tennessee, when you look at the market for hemp derived cannabis, which is what THC-a is, that's the umbrella it falls under. THC-a specifically makes up roughly 75% of that hemp-based market.
Yes.
So it is, by far the biggest seller in that market.
Yeah, and you'll listen to the local state lawmakers, and they're very much pitching this move as we don't know what's in this stuff. This market's largely unregulated. If you want to go buy this product, you should know exactly what's in it. But that's not how the law is reacting. Like, yes, there are regulations within the law, but it's also going to ban 70 to 80% of the economic product base in and of itself, because people aren't going in and buying CBD. They're not buying this Delta 6 and the smaller variants. No,
yeah.
They want the THC-a because that is basically marijuana.
Yeah, it's as close as you can come, really.
Like, technically, it is not a type of THC that you get in your good old grown from the ground marijuana. But when you burn it, it turns exactly into that type of chemical. And that is, for one, the loophole that they've gotten around, because Tennessee is stupid when it comes to marijuana and should have just legalized the whole thing to begin with.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion.
Well, and so fun facts. You know me, everyone. I always got the numbers for you. When the Farm Bill was enacted, all of this stuff started becoming legalized, the state of Tennessee implemented a 6% tax on hemp products. For the fiscal year of 2024, that tax generated just over $11 million for the state. And in fiscal year 2025, that number rose to $17.5 million. So we are generating millions, tens of millions of dollars every year in tax revenue by selling these products that we are now going to lose.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I can guarantee you it's not. I don't want to hear the arguments about, well, like, we're still going to get that money because people are going to buy like alcohol instead. No, no, they're not.
Yeah,
Like a
no.
vast majority of smokers, weed smokers, are not going to suddenly resort to alcohol. They're just going to go find another plug
Yeah.
instead of buying it from the store.
Yeah, there is an actual preference here. Weed smokers aren't just looking to numb their brain. They specifically like marijuana, and there is almost no correlation that if you remove marijuana from the market, alcohol sales will increase. What's probably going to happen is a lot of smokers are going to turn to the underground market. They're going to, as they say in the slang, they're going to go find a plug, and they're going to go try to find their stuff from out of state or under the table, and they're just going to start dodging cops like every weed smoker in Tennessee has been doing for decades.
Since before the Farm Bill made all of this happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like the main thing that the Farm Bill did was provide a source of marijuana that you could get legally, so that you didn't have to go to some drug dealer under the table for it or go out of state and try to get it back into the state. So congratulations, Tennessee police. You're going to be facing a lot more of that coming up, and you're going to be facing a much larger underground market that you don't get to tax at all. So have fun.
And who knows? I mean, not to mention all of these businesses in Springfield alone. I mean, I'm sure when you think about Robertson County as a whole, how many vape smoke shops are in just like the Springfield area? I mean, all of these local businesses are going to suffer from this because, like you said, it's most of the product they move is THCA based product.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a local dispensary down in Springfield, and from what can be observed, yeah, they just move THCA product mainly. That's like 80% of their offering base. And it would just absolutely gut them. And from what I can tell, that was a nice place that also had like arcade machines and video games, and it was a place that adults could go hang out, like a decent little third space that you could go hang out at. And that business is probably going to go under now, which means that third space is probably going to get lost. And I just really dislike Tennessee's whole attitude about how they'll accept alcohol all day long and all of the drunk driving deaths and all of the bull crap that comes from alcohol, but they won't accept marijuana. Even though it is milder for a lot of people, it is better for them than alcohol. And at the end of the day, it is a taxable product that we have already been living with in our society for arguably hundreds of years. People have been smoking reefer since the beginning of this country's founding, and it's only gotten more popular since the 70s. And in my personal opinion, people are going to smoke it and get it whether you want them to or not. Do you want to funnel that money into the tax revenue system, or do you just want to make police lives harder while they have to go around searching everybody again like they used to? Just fun times.
It's a tale as old as time. We've been fighting this battle for ages.
Yeah, since the reefer madness days and even before then. But I digress.
So I guess we'll see after July 1st. We'll have to keep an eye out, see how it impacts the area. But I have a feeling it's not going to be good.
Yeah, if Tennessee's smart, then they will see how it impacts the area, and they will very quickly roll back these procedures and instead put healthy regulation on THC-a. Like, I'd even be okay with, say, capping the percentile of THC-a in the product. Like, instead of having 30 or 40%, you could have 15, 20%.
Yeah.
I'm okay with some less powerful bud. It's just completely banning it outright is that type of binary, no common sense, just smack it with a hammer solution. That's not really a solution. It's just us hitting ourselves with the hammer. We're just hurting ourselves as a state.
Yes, losing out in millions of dollars that could be spent on helpful programs
and funding those millions of dollars, funneling
for
those
citizens.
Yeah, and funneling that millions of dollars into what many would describe as criminals, because people will sell this stuff whether it is legal or not. I want to grind that point home. So,
But that takes us to our second story.
Yes.
So there was a recent headline, rumors going around, or I don't even want to say rumors, just concerns, because on a recent Springfield Municipal slash Regional Planning Commission, they had an agenda item that had everyone freaking out that we were going to start building data centers in Springfield. And that is not true, at least as of right now. That there are, from what we can see there, and from the statement that was released by the Planning Commission after, this kind of got traction, is that is not happening.
Yeah.
But I will let you speak more on this because you did more looking into it than I did. It was really just they're trying to preemptively start zoning for areas like that in case we ever do get a request to build a data center in Springfield.
Yeah, from what I very much see, it is not a reason to panic. It is very much Springfield saying, because we don't have any regulations regarding data centers, it would be very easy for one of them to just swoop in and set up shop before we could react. So we're making regulations now to hopefully discourage that from happening. And we're not seeing the article that I found did not say exactly what type of regulations they are trying to make. This obviously has not happened yet. It is just an agenda item on an upcoming commission.
And I think I don't quote me on this. Please go look this up for yourself if you're interested in it to verify. But I think I saw some of it's around the size that it can't be over so many square footage, and it can't be within so many feet or a certain distance of other types of buildings, stuff like that to try and protect certain areas of the community.
Yeah. So actually good news when it comes to local government, they are listening to us with that respect, and they are trying their best to do what they can to make sure that all of this data center nonsense that you are seeing around the country doesn't come to Springfield, at least.
And on that note, a maybe less exciting side to the data center story is, if you all have not heard yet, there is I believe it's a Georgia-based company is proposing a 69,000 plus square foot data center literally adjacent to the Nashville Zoo. Obviously, people are not happy about that. The zoo has released a statement saying that they are super, super opposed to it. The people living in that community, in that area, are obviously very opposed to it because of all of the threats and dangers that data centers, introduce, especially the zoo, concerned about how it's going to impact the animals that they are caring for. I did want to throw out, for anyone that might be interested, there is right now on change.org, there's a petition to, against building that data center next to the zoo. So we'll have a link to that petition in the episode description if you want to go sign it. It takes literally 30 seconds to a minute. You just type in your name and your email, and that's it, to say you're against them building this data center.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I wanted to bring up, and we wanted to talk about data centers, obviously it's a hot topic right now. A lot of them are being built or proposed to be built, and obviously a lot of communities are responding negatively, as they should.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of arguments online about some people arguing for them, obviously, and making the case for, well, we need them to continue to fuel this AI bubble, and they bring jobs to the area, and they have all these arguments for why data centers are a good thing. And of course, people always have their counter arguments, but one that I saw recently that I think, the more I think about it, the more I think I'm starting to like the argument and agree with it, is that I don't care what all the benefits are, because this is not something that we need.
Yeah.
This is very much something that is a want from the billionaires in power to continue expanding their wealth and their power. We do not need AI. We do not need, frankly, the argument the person was making was, we don't even need the internet.
Yeah.
The internet as a concept is something that, as much as it has kind of overtaken our lives in recent years, it is a recent development.
How do you think the world went on with things before 1980?
Exactly. Like, we don't need to be building these data centers, so despite all of the, potential benefits that you're citing, when all of the negatives are it's detrimental to the environment,
Yeah.
it pollutes the water, it causes chaos in the communities that they're built in, then I don't care what the pros are because the community that you're infiltrating basically doesn't want it
Yeah.
for a reason that you don't need.
Yeah, and let me zoom in on this a little bit because there might be some people out there that will hear that and will be like, "But why?" Well, here is how a data center functions. A data center is a massive warehouse full of computer chips. These computer chips are designed to crunch calculations and look at data that it scrapes from the internet in order to train these new large language models. Think very fancy algorithmic chatbot. All the new chatbots that you're having to talk to when you need to get customer support for something, or you need to report that your power's out or something. That's what these data centers are powering. And now, computer chips create heat. And a massive warehouse full of tens of thousands of computer chips create a crap load of heat. So each data center is going to need millions of gallons per year of water in order to liquid cool these chips.
And don't even start on how much electricity they use.
Oh yeah, and if you've seen power warnings about how much your computer that has one of these styles of graphics computing chips in them says, imagine a room with thousands of them pulling from the grid. There have been cases in a lot of communities where private electric providers have been telling residents we have to prioritize the data centers because they're taking so much of our electric grid's pull. And then there have been public utilities that have been telling their customers that they have to increase prices on them because the data centers that are coming into the states have been given subsidies and are not paying their fair share. So these are giant buildings full of computer chips that suck up water from aquifers and water from rainwater systems and suck up electricity from local utilities. And for the most part, they're not paying their fair share of it. And the water systems are not designed for these massive data centers. So we're seeing aquifers getting drained. We're seeing rainwater systems getting disruptive because we're just pulling so much water out of local systems for these data centers. Essentially, these are giant resource-hungry data crunching monsters. Oh, and they also put out a massive hum. They put out a big audible hum, which is why it's hell living next to one. Good luck getting any peaceful sleep next to one ever again. It's like living at an airport.
I've seen so many comments from the residents that I would much rather hear the animals at the zoo than the hum of a data center all the time.
Yeah, and these are just massive, loud, humming, water guzzling, electricity guzzling systems that at the end of the day are designed to make the chat bot that replace the call center for your local company work better. That's what a vast majority of these data centers are being used for, are LLMs and these Gen AI systems that you're seeing on the internet that are basically being used to make political disinformation, fake cat videos, power customer service chatbots. What I'm saying is that the juice ain't worth the squeeze here. These things are not worth the massive amount of resources they are pulling from our local communities.
And don't get me wrong, I love convenience as much as the next girl. If I can be lazy, I will be lazy. If I can avoid talking to a customer service person and instead email them or use their chatbot, I will, because I hate talking to customer service. But that cannot come at the cost of the communities that are impacted by these data centers. I can suck it up and make a phone call. These people can do nothing about the fact that their utility bills are going to go up or that their water is going to be bad quality now. I can suffer through a 5-minute phone call so that people can have healthy lives.
Yeah. And now, if the data centers had said, hey, we understand we're going to pipe in our own water, we're going to build ourselves a desalination plant off the coast and pipe in our own water so we don't got to disturb yours. We're going to build our own we're going to build our own power generation at the data center and just run off of our own.
Or even pay their fair share of the utility costs.
Yeah. And we'll put it out in the middle of nowhere so nobody has to hear that dumb hum that goes on. And when I'm talking hum, I'm talking like standing next to a small jet engine at idle, or standing relatively close to it 24/7. These facilities never turn off. They run on 3-shift 24/7 protocols. So if they had said that they were going to take care of all the downsides by themselves, you know what? I'd be all right. I am not anti-technological advancement. I am anti-marginal technological advancement that screws over anyone who happens to be unfortunate enough to live in a town with that gets a data center. Like,
Yep.
that's the problem. They're not paying their fair share. They're burdening the community with these things. And in return, the community is going to have to shoulder the cost, not
And really,
the companies.
the community is getting no net benefit out of it.
Yeah. Like, you'll hear these data center guys say all the time, like Kevin O'Leary is trying to build a big one in Utah right now. They'll say all the time, well, we're bringing jobs to the community. Yeah, you're bringing, from what I read, even the largest data centers take less than 100 technicians to operate.
And the people will argue for the construction jobs created.
But those are temporary.
One, those are temporary. And two, at least here in Nashville and surrounding areas, if you've driven around at all in the past 10, 20 years, construction companies aren't hurting for business around here.
Yeah.
Like that is not, they do not need more business. The construction is doing fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, that's my thoughts on data centers and that.
Yep. And we will, of course, with the fact that we are kind of starting to consider creating regulations for it in Robertson County, we will, of course, let you know if we hear any rumors of one wanting to be built here. But again, as of now, it seems like that is not going to be the case. So we can rest a little easier about it tonight.
And if you're super mad at these guys for building data centers, you can not use these AI chatbots. Don't use ChatGPT. You can still look up the information on the internet. It's perfectly fine. Don't use Grok. That's literally just Elon Musk's propaganda machine at this point.
And there are ways to turn off like Google's little AI summary overview that it automatically does when you search. There's a way you can get around that. Like, there are ways you can avoid using AI even if it seems like
it's being shoved in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
And
sign the petition. Again, description will be in the link. Link will be in the description for the zoo data center petition. Yeah.
And also, speaking of rising costs and prices being higher because of reasons, I caught a report on News Channel 5. This is a bit of a transition, but it's just a little interesting thing where we keep hearing about how much farmers are getting hit over the past couple years with rising costs and geopolitical instability. And News Channel 5 interviewed a farmer by the name of Willis in Orlinda in Robertson County, and reported that they have already had to go through a couple years with that they called lean years with negative margins, where they're literally losing wealth from their family. And for the past couple years as well, the cost of production has doubled per acre. So this is some down on the ground, local kind of local look at how much farmers get hurt. And then from what Willis is saying, it's at least double.
And when you take into consideration how many farms are in Tennessee, that's a lot. That is a lot of money being spent on just agriculture or farming production that we have not had to spend in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if anyone is curious, roughly 200,000-ish acres of land in just Robertson County is considered farmland. 69% of that is classified as cropland, and then 19% is pasture, 9% woodland. But basically 70-ish% of all of the farmland in Tennessee is considered cropland, which I mean, I'm not a farmer. I don't know this, but I would imagine that production for crops is probably a little higher than just maintaining like a pasture. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
no.
Like it is when we're talking doubling expenses, we're not just saying like doubling $100. We're talking doubling hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
when they say production costs have doubled per acre, what they're not just saying like the cost of putting the seed in the ground. It's the
Hmm.
cost of buying the seed, buying the fertilizer, the diesel used to run the tractor. This farmer had said that they use about 10 gallons of diesel every few hours running their tractor.
Hmm.
Like these are diesel hungry machines.
Yep.
And with the cost of diesel going up so much, that in and of itself is a huge weight on farmers. Um, and you also got to talk about labor costs for getting people
Hmm.
out there and their heightened costs and their
Hmm.
gasoline they got to pay to get out to the farms. It's just so much more that goes into it. Like farming is not just some dude with a mule out there dr- uh, planting with a banjo. Farming is now a large industrial operation, even for family farmers, because even family farmers will have to use large tractors. They'll have to use the co-op. They'll have to
Hmm.
use modern systems, modern weather report techniques so that they
Hmm.
can judge crop health and what they've got to do to survive storms and such. There is a
Yep.
lot that goes into it. And when your country gets into wars
Hmm.
with moving and sometimes contradictory directions with an opponent that they didn't seem to understand, then you have geopolitical price shocks that end
Hmm.
up affecting things like this.
And
And
I think it's important to note that really, I don't want to say only impacts, but is really only a significant impact to these family farms. Like the corporate farms and owned by whoever, like they don't care.
yeah,
They have the
no,
money to cover
they'll just give you crappier food.
it is the multi-generational, like farm has been in the family for decades. Those kinds of farms are the ones that are really impacted like this, or impacted by this and at risk of losing their farm to the corporation because they can't afford
Yeah,
costs. And we don't want that. That
yeah,
is bad. We
yeah.
we want our land controlled by our people.
Yeah, like this family that News Channel 5 was reporting on was reported to have said that this farm, when the current owner passes it on to their children, it will be an eighth generation
Hmm.
farm, and that has been running since the early 1800s, so
Hmm.
pre-Civil War. And we're already looking at a situation where those guys could just get crunched out of business, and then the only thing that will be left are industrial farming companies that are large enough to absorb globalized price shocks and large fluctuations in the market. And that will eventually just lead us to a dystopia where the only people who are in business are the largest corporations that essentially own everything because they ate up everything as it was going out of
Hmm.
business. So,
Yep. So all of the politicians out there listening, running for office this year, pay attention to our farmers. And for
yeah.
all of you voting out there, not running for political office, pay attention to the candidates and who has plans to help decrease costs for farmers and make things easier for them to make a living and to sustain themselves for generations upon generations and not have to worry about losing their farms, even when, costs maybe do
Yes.
increase because we start a war that we didn't need to start.
Yeah, yeah. And also because we've engineered our economy in a way where we're dependent upon foreign imports of fertilizer
Hmm.
and of farm equipment and everything that the farmers need to function.
Hmm.
And we could make our own supply chain here more sustainable.
Hmm.
We could produce more of the fertilizer here. We could produce more of our seeds here. We could stop making these specialized types of GMO seeds that do not produce
Mhm.
good seeds after they are planted. They're designed so that you have to buy more seeds from the big corporation.
Mhm.
Instead of that, we could do a lot more heirloom seeds that actually make more seeds, so you could plant more crops using the plant's natural reproduction system.
Yep.
We could make things better with this. And for example, not exporting a majority of our own oil to foreign markets and instead refining it here. Everyone talks about how America is one of the largest oil producers. Well, we tend to like to import the cheap Middle Eastern crude because it's easier to refine. And then we ship a lot of our own oil out to Europe because Europe has more of the facilities needed to refine that type of oil. It's this weird chain that could just be fixed with some good policy management and some incentives towards building refineries here, and that would help the farmers. Like, so much of what the farmers need is tied into sustainability, as well as not creating events that create massive global trade shocks.
Yep.
It would be a lot easier to become self-sustainable if we weren't trying to blow up countries in the Middle East again. That's just my opinion.
What's that phrase you love to say? Born too early to fight a war in the Middle
Yep.
East, born too late to
Born,
fight a war in the Middle East.
yeah, it's born too early to fight a war in the Middle East, born too late to fight a war in the Middle East, born just in time to fight a war in the Middle East.
Yep. That's I love that one. But as promised, we have a happy story to end with to just warm your spirits, hopefully give you a little hope in these trying times. So first I wanted to call out the website that I got this story from just cuz I think we could all use a little bit of this right now. Not sponsored, not just I think it's a cool idea. The website is goodgoodgood.co, and they are literally a website dedicated to compiling good news stories and not just like some of them are make you feel happy, some of them are actual like good things are happening. So if you need a break from all the depressing news, just take a scroll on Good 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 and take a look at some of the more encouraging headlines. But this one that I wanted to talk about, because if you don't know me, I love otters. They are my favorite animal. And there is an otter in Florida. His name is Splash. He is 2.5 years old. And Splash has been trained to be a search and rescue otter, which I love. Now I should clarify, he does not really do much rescuing. It's more search and recovery, because he obviously an otter is not big enough to rescue a whole human. Um, but the police department, I guess, realized that they lose a lot of evidence or things related to criminal activity in the water, which canines obviously cannot. They will struggle searching for things in the water. So Splash has been trained to go diving and has been trained to smell for human remains and will go and recover either like he's recovered a murder weapon that was used, in a 25-year-old murder case. He's recovered, body parts, just various things in these cases. And I just think that's really cool. I think that's very sweet. As far as everyone knows, he is the only otter in the country trained to do this. And they have all of their, safety precautions. They have a whole team with that wear shirts that say otter spotter on them while he's out looking around, so they watch out for like alligators and other predators while he's doing his thing, so he's safe. If he finds something, he'll come and grab his trainer's like mask with his paws and like guide him to the thing that he found. It's very sweet. So wanted to let you know about Splash the otter. He's doing some good work down in Florida. He is not technically employed by the police department. He is, I hate to say the word owned, that even feels wrong, but he's owned by a like search and rescue training organization that lends their services to the police department for free. But yeah, Splash is an inspiration. He's doing great work. Keep it up, Splash. We love you.
And with that, we'll have to bid you adieu for this week. But Splash the Otter
Splash
Gotta,
the otter will give us the hope we need to keep going in
yes.
these trying times.
In Tennessee, come on, employ some otters, or I don't know, some search and rescue deer. Like, we got to let a deer over here.
I don't know
We
if
can do deer.
I don't know if deer are as trainable as otters are. That's
Oh,
otters
come
are
on.
very smart.
Come on, you can do a lot with a salt lick. Come on now.
All right, we'll get a petition going to create a
Search and rescue deer.
All right, that we have our call to action.
There we go. There we go.
We will catch you all next week, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.